What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and welcome back to another episode of Versus, where we're going to be taking two similar devices and comparing and contrasting them. This time, we're going to be taking a look at the Serpent Mini by Watofo and the Mage GTA by Coil. Alright guys, so let me first start off by saying that this is all my opinion. This is based on my experiences with these devices over the course of the past couple of months, from testing phase all the way up until this point now, and that's kind of why I'm able to do these kinds of videos, because I have had a lot of experiences with these devices, so therefore I can give you guys a solid opinion based on what I went through when I was testing them. So with that, I do have to state my intent by saying that I did receive one of these devices for free. The other one I paid for out of my own pocket. However, that will have no negative impact on my thoughts about these devices, which means my opinions on them will remain honest and unbiased. So before we go down to the close-up view, I just wanted to give you guys a little insight on why I chose these two devices for this comparison video, and it's mostly because of the build deck. The build deck, as you'll see, is almost identical, and I just wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight on why you should go with one device over the other, or if anyone out there is in the market for a device like this, this will give you a little bit better idea of which one you should choose. So with that, let's go down to the close-up view for a better look. So here you can see the two build decks. The gold-plated build deck is the Mage GTA. The stainless build deck is the Serpent Mini. Obviously, the size difference is pretty apparent here. The Mage GTA does have a slightly bigger build deck. Also, the post positioning is the opposite on each one of these devices here. So for the Mage GTA, you can do an overhand coil wrapping technique, whereas the Serpent Mini, you kind of have to do an underhanded or left-handed building technique. Also, the other major difference is the size of the posts themselves, or the slot in the posts. The Mage GTA does have a much bigger slot, which means you can fit larger coils in there if you wanted to. The wicking ports on each one of these is pretty much the same, and the air hole in the middle, the Mage GTA does have a slight size advantage, so it's a little tiny bit bigger on this as compared to the Serpent Mini. Another small difference with these two devices here is the airflow. So they both have 10.5mm by 1.5mm air slots. However, the Mage GTA has 3 of them in comparison to the Serpent Mini's 2. So with that, you do get a little bit more airflow out of the Mage GTA. The other thing you'll notice as far as the airflow goes is the size of the bore on each of these here. The Mage GTA does have a slightly larger bore as far as the drip tip is concerned as compared to the Serpent Mini. Here's the Mage GTA, here's the Serpent Mini, and you'll notice a slight difference there. So here are the juice filling ports on each of these devices. Obviously the Mage GTAs are a bit larger in comparison to the Serpent Mini. However, the way you access that is through the actual drip tip itself. So here's the top cap for the Mage GTA, here's the top cap for the Serpent Mini. Yeah, not a real big difference, not a real big game changer for me, but it just felt like it should be mentioned there. And here are both of the devices side by side, and you can't really quite get a grasp on the scale of these two just by looking at them like this. So real quick, I'm just going to throw each one on a rouleau and show you what they look like. So here's the Mage GTA, fits almost flush with the edge here. And the Serpent Mini, which definitely comes up a little bit short. Alright, so that's what I got for the close-up comparison. Let's go back to the main screen and talk about these some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of the video. Now let's compare these two devices. So I have broken them down into several different categories. First is ease of building, second is juice capacity, third is fit and finish, fourth is airflow, fifth is the wild card, which is basically the feature or features that really make each one of these devices shine, and fifth is overall. So I'm going to give you guys the clear and concise winner at the end of this video, and this is all based on a 1 out of 10 scale. So I've rated these 1 out of 10 in each category, but that doesn't necessarily mean the overall score winner will be the overall winner. So with that, yeah, 1 is the worst, 10 is the best, obviously, but let's go ahead and get right into our first category. So starting it off with the ease of building. Now, these two devices have very, very similar build decks, but there were a few things that I liked about one that I didn't like about the other. So getting right into it, the Serpent Mini, I gave a 6 out of 10 because simply for the fact that I had to go with smaller coils. Normally, I do 3mm coils coils on my drippers, and with most tanks I can even fit 3mm coils in there, but with the Serpent Mini I found that it was a little bit too tight for my liking, so I had to go with the next size down, which is 2.5mm. So with that, it was a bit cramped. The other thing about the Serpent Mini that I wasn't too fond of was the fact that I had to use the kind of underhand building technique or wrapping technique, where as normally I would wrap my coils overhand with the coil jig. With the Serpent Mini I had to go the opposite direction, which is a little bit more difficult for me. Obviously with the jig it's really not that much more difficult, but it's just one of those things that you never really get used to. So that's what I did like about the Mage GTA, is the fact that I could just do my normal build style with my normal 3mm coils, and I had plenty of room to work with. So with that, I gave the Mage GTA an 8 out of 10. Our next category is juice capacity. Now, this one I kind of went against the grain with, because technically speaking, the Mage GTA does have the larger of the two as far as the juice capacity is concerned. However, the reason I gave it a 6 out of 10 was the fact that it doesn't really like to flow down to the bottom of the tank. Now, I mentioned this in my review, how it would wick fine from the bottom. However, you have to wait a long time for that kind of bubble to form, and you have to kind of assist it in a way for a bubble to kind of come up to the top of the tank so that juice would flow down to the bottom. And that is a major thing for me. I would have to wait sometimes 5 to 10 minutes before that bubble would actually form and you could actually get that juice flowing. Usually if you undo the top cap and screw it back on again, it kind of goes, but it's kind of a really annoying way to do things. So with that, I actually gave the Serpent Mini a 7 out of 10, even though it has the 3ml juice capacity. And to be honest with you guys, it seems like it shouldn't hold that amount. Considering the size, it feels like it doesn't quite hold 3ml, but then again, I have never had any problems with it wicking. Our next category, which is fit and finish, has to do mostly with my experiences putting these devices on different mods and seeing how they look. So starting it off with the Serpent Mini, it gets a 6 out of 10, and that's not saying it looks terrible on everything, but it's mostly the fact that it looks good mostly on my little mini mods, such as the Anakin Pebble or the Coolfire Ace or something like that. It looks great on those little mini mods, but the second you put it on a big old 200 watt like this Tempest or the 200S, it looks ridiculous. It sticks out like a sore thumb, and I'm not a huge fan of the look of that overall. It's just little tiny puny tank on this big old honkin' mod. It just looks dumb in my opinion. So that's why the Mage GTA wins this category with an 8 out of 10. I just think it looks like a proper modern styled tank. It's got that nice kind of shorter stout finish, and overall it just looks nice on everything that you put it on. Basically everything that can handle a 24mm device. That's the other thing you have to really realize. That's the major difference between these two. The Serpent Mini is 22mm and the Mage GTA is 24mm. So yeah, put this one on the appropriate device, and same goes with this one here. I mean, it's just kind of a logic thing at that point, but I do feel like the Mage just kind of has that more kind of modern kind of style, which I like a lot better. So next up we have airflow. Now for this category, I kind of just took all of my opinions out of the equation here and just went by the numbers. So with a score of 8 out of 10, we have the Serpent Mini coming in at the second slot here. It's got two 10.5 by 1.5mm air holes, which are of course fully adjustable, and it has plenty of airflow. That's kind of why I gave it a higher score. But yeah, it still kind of falls a little bit short of the Mage GTA with three 10.5 by 1.5mm airflow slots. Obviously the Mage has a little bit more airflow to it. Also, the other thing to note, as you probably saw in the close-up section, is the diameter of the bore on the actual chimney section is a little tiny bit wider with the Mage GTA, so that's why it just barely edges out the Serpent Mini. Next up, we've got the wild card. Now, I didn't give these a rating as far as a 1 out of 10 score for this category, nor will I be doing so in future episodes of Versus for this particular category, just because this is my favorite feature about each one of these devices. And starting off with the Serpent Mini, it fits perfectly on mini mods. Now, I mentioned the Coolfire Ace and the Anakin Pebble, and these are definitely some of the nice little tiny mods that this thing will fit on. Of course, it'll probably fit it on the Nugget really nicely as well, or if you have a Mini Volt or something like that, it's going to just look really, really great on those particular devices. Also, the fact that it comes with coils and cotton. Now, I haven't used the coils that it comes with, but it's definitely a nice touch of Wotofo just throwing those in the box there. So you unbox your device, you slap a coil in there, you wick it, and you're off and vaping pretty quickly, which is nice. So as far as the Mage GTA goes, I like the fact that it has Phillips headed screws. Now, I haven't stripped the screws on my Serpent Mini, nor do I think I will, but I feel like the Phillips headed screws just are a little bit more sturdy in comparison to Allen heads. But with that, that is just something that's unique on that device that's not present on the Serpent Mini. Next, we have the bigger airflow. As I just mentioned in the previous category, it has more airflow. That's all there is to it. I like a little bit more airflow, and the Mage GTA definitely delivers. And the moment you've all been waiting for, my overall winner, and this is kind of a tough one, and you guys are going to be a little bit surprised by this because we do have a technical winner here. As far as the numbers goes, the Mage GTA wins it with a score of 7.75 out of 10. And yeah, there's a reason why I chose the Serpent Mini as my personal winner with a score of 6.75 out of 10 over the one that is the technical winner. And that's basically because the wicking issue. That is the one thing that really just broke the bank for me. I just cannot stand waiting around for a tank to have that bubble form and go up to the top and allow that liquid to go into the bottom. Otherwise, it's great. Otherwise, the Mage GTA is a wonderful tank, and I would continue to use it if that issue wasn't present. So just making that build deck a millimeter smaller would have done the trick, but I got to give it to the Serpent Mini for the overall winning here, just because it's a great tank overall. I think it's just wonderful. I love putting it on my little mini devices. The one thing I will say about it that's slightly negative is you kind of want to build it a little bit higher resistance than I normally would. With the Mage GTA, I've had it built down to a 0.14 ohm alien coil, and it works flawlessly. With the Serpent Mini, I think it works best between about 0.3 to 0.5 ohms, and use it at 40, 50 watts, and it's going to be a great little kind of carry around tank. So with that, there is a slight price difference if you guys are interested. The Serpent Mini is $29.99 and the Mage GTA is $34.99. So if that really swings it for you in favor of one or the other, then there you go. But that is my thoughts on these two devices. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments box below. Also, if you have a suggestion for a future episode of Versus, make sure you drop it down there as well. Just please note that I don't own everything under the sun as far as vape gear is concerned. Just take a look through my older videos and pick out two similar devices, and I'll be sure to compare and contrast them. So that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Of course, leave me comments in the box below. Also, check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the description. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and as always, vape on. I can clear up again.